All right, I just want to do a quick little book review. Recently read Factotum by Charles Bukowski. I've read Ham on Rye also by Charles Bukowski and some of his poetry, so kind of knew what to expect going into this one. Funny, I was planning on actually purchasing this book, and I happened to run across it in one of those free libraries on the side of the road. I was just scouring through it. I found this. I found a book by Charles. God, how do you say his last name? Actually, is his first name even Charles? The guy who wrote Fight Club. Got the book somewhere. Yikes. Chuck Palahniuk. I have no idea how to say that last name. Anyway, I found Charles Bukowski's Factotum, a little book about, I think it's about Portland or Seattle, by Chuck Palahniuk. And then I found a book on the plays of Sophocles, which, who knows when I'll get to that. Oedipus, interesting. Anyway, back to this. So I read Ham on Rye, which kind of relates to this actually, because I didn't know this, but Henry Chinaski is the main character in both books. He is in Ham on Rye. Actually, from what I recall, I believe it's the beginning of his life until maybe his late teens or so. This book kind of follows him, and it sounds like his early to mid 20s. Overall, I did enjoy the book well enough to read it again at a later point. I'm not dying to go back. I don't think there was that many deep, profound things that I gleaned from it, or that or anything so tough and important that I would need to go back and read it again to fully understand the ideas. I mean, there are some interesting ideas and concepts dealt with, but largely for me, it's just an entertaining book to read. It was just it's a quick read, 205 pages, this version, and I think 90 chapters, so you can stop whenever. I mean, you can just fly through this thing, really. It can take you as long as you want it to. You could get through this in a day if you didn't have that much going on. I think I read it over the course of 4 or 5 days, because I'm also working on another much more dense book about the history of Western philosophy by Bertrand Russell. This book is largely Henry Chinaski traveling around America, mostly around LA, drinking, looking for jobs, and subsequently getting fired from those jobs and then looking for more jobs. It occurs kind of during World War II, 1945 or so, because there's references to World War II. And yeah, there's really not much more to it. You've got the interesting writing by Charles Bukowski. I would say I enjoyed it just as much as Ham on Rye and the poetry that I've read by him. So far, no duds that I've read by Bukowski. It's all been really, really entertaining. The drinking and, the hiring and firing from jobs, it gets a little monotonous, but it's such a quick book, and, there's always something happening in between his hiring and firings, and there's enough to keep it going, to keep it entertaining. I mean, I don't know how I should say this. I guess I'm happy that I didn't read this when I was younger, because it may have negatively influenced me in a little bit of a way. It might have had me romanticizing the idea of drinking and not caring about work, and just, there's something to be said about this book, and I think everyone can get something out of it because we've all worked jobs that we don't like. Many of us probably are working jobs we don't like at the moment, and in this book, he seems to just work for that first or second paycheck so he can get enough money to get booze or food and pay rent. And it seems like everything was so much cheaper back then. It's just so much easier for him to rent a room and get food and a bottle of cheap wine. And there's a lot of wine, which you'd think would be a little bit more of a high-end fancy drink, but I don't know if it's the fact that he's in California in the 40s and it's just so cheap there. But yeah, a lot of wine, whiskey, beer, some gambling, crazy characters, and just fabulous writing by Bukowski. There's a couple cool quotes in this book. I'd have to look for them to find them, but I will try my best to recall the two that I liked. One is just a funny way of saying something. I think he said he saw a woman and that dress fit her like a balloon fits the air inside. So I'll maybe try and find a way to use that at some point in my own life if I can. And then the other quote that I found interesting was actually one that I had reposted on some sort of social media before my life. It was funny because I reread it, or when I was reading the book, I was like, that sounds familiar. I reposted that. I want to say it might have been on Tumblr or something way back when I kind of was active on there. But that quote read something along the lines of, I might even be able to find that because it was in the beginning of a chapter, one of these later chapters, but essentially it went along the lines of, how can a man wake up at 6:30 in the morning, shower, shit, force feed, fight his way through traffic to go to a job where he makes somebody else money and expect to be happy? It doesn't look like I'm finding it. And obviously I was not happy with my life and work at that time. And so it kind of rang true to me, kind of spoke to me when I read that quote years ago. And I think it speaks a little less to me now. I kind of understand that work is kind of necessary and you don't have to hate it. And there's just many options. You can find different work, or you can learn to like the work that you do, but it's just kind of part of life. And maybe seems a little infantile philosophy with that quote, just like, I don't want to work. I just want to be a hedonist and drink and have sex. And, it's just that, and that leads nowhere either, even if you could live that life. There's something exciting about what he's doing, the life that he's living. It's fun to live vicariously, but I don't envy it. I don't envy this main character. But I'm glad this book was written so that I could taste it a little bit. Yeah, I'm not going to find that quote. Am I off on this? Maybe there is more to it than I am seeing. I did enjoy the book. Yeah, it definitely makes you think about the economy and the nature of work and hedonism, and just it goes on from there. But to stop myself from rambling, please let me know if you had any differing opinions, if you agreed with what I thought, if you could help me learn anything that I might have missed from this book. Hope you enjoy the review, and that's all for now.